Yeah. Yeah. Hi, team. Thanks for joining. So the last sessions, right? So we have seen implementing CI with Azure pipelines, the basic, the blocks in the YAML pipelines and all we have seen in the last sessions. So in this session, what we are going to see is like, so some of the previous sessions demo we are going to see like so how we can configure the self-hosted agent setup. So I think yesterday we have when we are configuring it we are getting some errors, so that we are going to do that one. And then the next one is how we can maybe we can create one sample YAML file with maybe printing hello world. So that one we are going to see. And then the next one is, I think Daniel is already passed you the Azure pass. So with that, we are going to create Azure account. And so maybe after that, we will see some overview about the Azure cloud. And so our main, maybe our session agenda is managing up application configuration and secrets, right? So which service from the Azure we can use it for this one. So some maybe overview we are going to see. And maybe if we have sometimes we will see some key vault, maybe the demo, or otherwise maybe we will see that one tomorrow. Okay. So first maybe we will start the self-hosted agent setup, that demo. So I think that we are going to start from the previous session. Okay. So so Mebrad, so did you try that one maybe in your mission?
No.
Oh,
In my current machine,
yeah.
no.
Okay.
Get the time. So.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah, no problem. Okay, so for example, maybe for we have already seen the steps, right? To configure the maybe the self-hosted agent pool. So you have to go to the agents pools first, and then so this is the default agent pool. So if you want, you can create a new agent pool, the named like self-hosted something, but currently I'm going with the maybe the default one. So currently I have created one, so that was working. But maybe I want to show demo to you, right? So that's I have deleted one. So maybe we will create as the new agent. Okay. So for example, when we are creating a new agent, right? Maybe the agent mission can be any one of the operating system, and maybe here the maybe the bit also we can select, like whether that is the 32-bit machine or the 64-bit machine. Okay. So currently my requirement is like I want to configure my local machine as the agent machine, so that whatever the build we are going to run, so that job has to be assigned to my machine, and from my machine only the all the task will be running. Okay. So for example, my machine, right, that is the Windows and then 64-bit. So I have to download the agent first. Okay. So that one we already done. So I have downloaded the executable, and after that I have extracted the maybe that file also. So for example, this is the file. So I have downloaded the uh, agent, and when I'm extracting it, so I'm getting these four folders actually. So apart from that, nothing. So because it will be around 130 MB, so I'm not like to maybe download again. So when I'm extracting it, so this is the folder structure we will be getting. Okay. So after that, what we have to do is like we need to get the token. Okay. So yesterday, maybe the problem is like yesterday I have generated the pass maybe the personal access tokens, but the token is not having the project administrator role actually. So because of that only, when we are trying that one, we are getting this error, maybe some error. So yeah, maybe we will try to generate the new token. Okay. So maybe we are going to create the yeah, we are going to create the new agent inside the microservices POC this organization. Okay. So whatever the projects under the this organization, right, maybe we can utilize the self-hosted agent machine. So currently I have the two projects, something like resource tracker or some projects Okay, so what I'm going to do is like I'm just going to create a personal access token. Maybe
So,
I,
Salon, quick question,
yeah,
Salon.
yeah,
So, what was the issue yesterday? Because the permission issue you said, right? Like, how
yeah.
did you resolve that issue?
Yeah. So, for example, so in this organization, right, there are actually two members initially. Okay. So the maybe the different email ID I have used. Okay, but the so when I am trying to log in with one account, right, that account not having the project administrator permission. So, for example, so here, right, the one of the requirement is like when you can check in the uh, permissions, maybe here you can go there, and then organization, this one, and then the permissions. Yeah, so here you can see, right, so these many users are there, like tamilselvan.sellapan@gmail.com. So these many peoples are there. So earlier the problem is like I am not in the project administrator group, so that is the problem. Like here, right, so currently I am the member of the project collection administrator. Okay. So I am the member of the project collection administrator, right? So earlier I was not into this group. So that is the issue. So you got it right. Maybe if I want you also to be the administrator, I have to add your user here. That's it. So earlier I was not in this group. So
So,
Yeah,
yesterday
I
while you
think
were
you
doing the
added it yesterday, right? You were trying to add and provide full access, though.
yeah, yeah, but actually I
Mm.
have two user account, Mebrod, like Tamil Selvan, yes at gmail.com something, the two email actually. Okay, so that's why I have tried to give the access to another email. So that's why the my email, my user currently the logged in user, right? It is not reflecting it. So only the requirement is we need to be the maybe when we are generating, right? So for example, currently I am with the tamilselvan.sellapan@gmail.com. So this is the Microsoft account. But yesterday, yesterday also I have used the same account, but this user is not the admin
Then you
user
have that
yesterday.
one, the other, the cloud, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Related.
yeah. Yesterday I didn't
Oh,
use.
so you have been using that one. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So that is the problem actually. So that's why we
So
are.
anything that is an account of that Microsoft or DevOps portal, then we need to provide here. Is that, I mean, on the project level also?
Yeah, so for example, here, right, maybe in the users. So first you have to invite the users because in the morning I have sent some
Mhm.
mail, right? So what I will do is like I will add the users first here. Okay, so what are the project access? So for example, your email ID is something, maybe
Oh, okay.
cool something. Okay, maybe if you want to
Mhm.
invite new members, you have to follow this step because we are not
Mhm.
maybe integrating Azure AD and all, right? So that we have to follow these manual steps only. Okay,
Mhm.
for example, if you want to invite for your friends also, you can do by this way. But here the limitation, right? Maybe we are using the maybe the not the licensed version, the free version only we are using, right? So that maybe we can add only the up to five peoples only. Okay, so that's why I
Mhm.
have added all the four members, and then here this one is the my user actually.
Yeah, Salon, can you remove that the ADAS and then I sent you another on the chat window? So
Oh,
can you add that user ID because this is my office and I have a separate account on the office, so I don't want
oh,
to mix
okay,
up with
okay.
the one with the training.
Yeah. So I will remove that one. So you have sent something in the chat, right?
Yeah.
But I don't see anything. Um,
Uh, okay, let me try to send again.
yeah, maybe yeah, I will add you later also.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so yeah, so the only the
I'll
requirement is you need to be the maybe project administrator. So then only when you are generating the token, then you will your token will have access maybe to configure the self-hosted agent setup actually.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. So now, for example, I am generating the token, the personal access tokens. So for example, I'm creating a new one. Maybe we can name it like maybe new agent, and maybe the organization is microservices POC, and here I'm just providing the full access. So this maybe the token, right? So this token will have the full access. Maybe if you know each and every scope level, we can do that, but just for a learning perspective, so that is fine, we can provide the full access. Otherwise we will be running into some issue when we are running the build, so that we don't want that situation. So we can provide the full access, and then we can create the token. So once it is generated, right, you have to copy and save in some places. Otherwise, right, once the page is refreshed or something, you can't get the same token again. So otherwise, right, still you can do. So you have to generate the new token. Okay, like
So you have Shriban, so you have sent invite over email today.
yeah. So I have maybe invited.
So yeah, but we're not able. I'm not able to access though. It shows access denied.
Oh, maybe I have added in the basic level. Maybe I have to added you into the contributor role. Maybe yeah, that I will. Maybe you can just send a screenshot to me, then I will add that. Maybe I have added the Azure DevOps account access. Maybe individual project level access. Maybe
You
I.
don't. It shows you don't have access.
Maybe have you tried the Azure repos or something, or how you are trying to access it?
Just by the URL you send.
Oh,
Yeah, Azure. Mm, mm, mm.
yeah. Okay, my brother. Yeah, maybe that issue, right? Maybe we can figure, maybe resolve it later also. Okay, maybe just
Okay.
I want you to add into the particular role. But I thought like the basic thing is fine. But yeah, I will check that one. So maybe can you send me the screenshot? Maybe from where you are trying and what kind of error message you are getting. Okay. Yeah. So
So when you
yeah.
create a
So
token, so is it like case
mm.
sensitive? Because you
No.
have two different tokens, right?
No, I think it's not like, yeah, it is definitely the case sensitive, but whatever it is providing here, right? So that one only you should be use it, because, right? Maybe if here it is showing it like maybe the caps one or the smaller case, then we should not edit anything. So this is the token, right? Whatever it is displayed there, then that we have to use it.
No, I'm asking about the agent name itself.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah, that is just for our reference only. Maybe we are not going to
because you
use.
have two agents, right? Like agent
Yeah, yeah,
zero
yeah.
one with capital and small. So
Yeah, yeah. I think yeah, but because right, but we are not going to use the name and all, because this one, right, the maybe organization may be different. Like this agent, this token for microservices POC, and this one for modern cloud renovate something.
so what
Oh,
is that organization is?
yeah, organization is the group level, right? Maybe under your Azure DevOps account, you can have a many organization. Under that
Okay.
organization, you can have many projects. Okay, so maybe I have many maybe organizations, and then under that I'm having some projects. Okay, because these are all the organizations, right? So for example,
Mhm.
um, so these are all the current the hierarchy is, the first one is the organization, the next one is the projects, and under the project you are having the many repositories and all.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so now I have copied the, yeah, yeah, I have copied the token. Okay, so first I'm going to my directory. So this is the file we have downloaded, right? I have extracted here. Okay, so what I need to do is like I need to open the PowerShell with the administrator privilege. So I'm just searching Windows PowerShell and then right clicking on it and then run as administrator.
So what is the use of this self-hosted agent?
Yeah, the self-hosted agent, right? Maybe you can use Microsoft hosted agent also. Maybe whenever you are running the build, right? So it will be
Mm.
running behind in any one of the server only. Okay. So maybe the Microsoft is providing some kind of agent machine. So that one also you can utilize it, but you have to pay. Maybe currently we are using the free version, right? So that for the monthly they will give 1800 minutes, so which is like around 30 hours. Okay, they will provide
Mm.
the free usage till the 30 minutes of maybe the build time. Okay, but maybe when you want more maybe the quota, right? At the time you have to provide, maybe get some additional quota by providing some amount. Okay, maybe instead of you are paying to that Azure, maybe if you have some Windows server or some kind of machines in your on-premise server or private cluster, you can maybe configure it in your machine so that you don't need to pay anything extra for the Azure, maybe Microsoft Azure. And then the one more, so this is the one thing, you have already some resource in your data center or in your company, so you don't need any other the computation resource, so that's why you are just utilizing your machine only for the agent purpose. And another one is like when the Microsoft is providing some agent, right? So that will be the most generic one. Maybe if you have uh, some uh, some of some of the scenarios like maybe specific to your company and project, right? So you cannot customize the agent machine and all. So for example, maybe when Mebrot is working on the DB automation, right? So the Redgate is the maybe the popular DB automation tool, but we don't know all the setups will be installed in the agent machine or not, Microsoft agent machine or not. So by default they will be installing maybe the Node, Python, .NET, Java, so those kind of basic, the most popular utilities, right? They will be installing it. But the Redgate and maybe other maybe the other rare tools and all, they won't be utilizing it, maybe they won't be use it. So that's why they won't give the image with the maybe the default tool list. Okay, so in this scenario if you want to run those kind of things, you have to configure by your own. So at the time you can go with your self-hosted machine, agent machine. So the self-hosted can be in your on-premise or in the public cloud also. Even you can create some new VM in your public cloud, maybe in the Azure, and that VM also you can be use it as the yeah, self-hosted agent machine. So there you can configure however you want. So you got it,
Okay.
Amos?
I yeah, actually, like, what is the purpose of using this one? That's what I'm trying
Yeah,
to.
for example, you understand, right? Maybe what is the agent,
Mhm.
or for why we are maybe why we need this
Why?
one.
Yeah, why do we need the agent
Okay.
itself?
So for example, where you are having the pipeline definition, like these are all the stages, these are all the sequence of tasks I need to run. So for example, in your pipeline, right, you will be mentioning the .NET restore, .NET install, .NET build command. Okay. So
Okay.
just
Mhm.
for your .NET projects, you will be running these steps, right? So where the scripts will run. So where do you think? So these scripts and all will be run.
Okay, so that's what, like, this agent is going to
Yeah.
pull up
Yeah.
that command and then it is going to execute.
Yeah, correct. Because right, the Azure DevOps, right, it will just receive the job and then it will assign to the agent, whatever the connected agent machines. Okay. For example,
Mhm.
from your organizations, maybe I am just trying to configure only one agent machine. Okay. But it can be many agent machine also. It will be connected to your Azure DevOps account. Whenever if any job or the pipeline, maybe the build is coming to Azure DevOps, it will be assigned to the currently available agent. So that the agent, right, it will pull the source code, check out, and after that it will run all the scanning, build everything, and then finally, right, it will just update the status and then logs only to the Azure DevOps. So because otherwise, right? So for example, you have the 100 teams member in your organizations, and then if everything running in the same Azure DevOps server, right? So it will be the performance issue will come, right? Because at the same time, if someone maybe trying to build, because the Azure DevOps also it will be having some maybe yeah, it will have some resource only. But if you are trying to utilize over, then there also there will be a performance problem. Even we cannot maybe the access the Azure DevOps page also. So that is why they are just separating it, like Azure DevOps server is one thing and then the agent machine is one thing. So Azure DevOps server, you can just run the build. The Azure DevOps, it will detect what is the currently available agent machine, and then it will assign the job to that particular machine. You
So
got it?
basically, in production environment, the agent should be somewhere in the Azure environment, right? Or
No,
like it's
no,
like on the on-premise.
no. So why, for example, for your application only you will be having a maybe the dev, QA and production, but this is the some tool only, right? So within the tool only you are going to configure dev, QA, production and all. But why we need the dev Azure DevOps account, maybe QA Azure DevOps account? We don't need like that, right? So for whatever you are running it, for even the production deployment also, you are just copying the artifact to the production environment. Yeah, as you said, the production environment should be secure one. Okay, but anyway, but the Azure DevOps side, right? Instead of you are copying the artifact or the build from local machine, it will be moving from Azure to the cloud to the production environment. That's it.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. So the first requirement, right? So maybe I have downloaded the agent file. I have extracted it. So this is the maybe the file, the folder structure after I am extracting that file. Okay. So the next I need to do is I want to, because right, even yesterday me and Mibrat actually tried to use the command prompt, that is not working. Okay. And after that only we have tried PowerShell with administrator, and after that it is started working. So the first command, right? So I have to change it to the agent directory. Okay, so now I am in agents directory. So first I to configure that one, I need to run the config.cmd, that particular file. Okay, so /config.cmd. Okay, so here we need to pass the server URL and the token we have generated, right? So everything we have to provide. So this is our organization URL. So I'm just configuring under the Microsoft microservices POC only. So under this organization only, I'm going to add the new pool here. Okay. So I'm just providing the organization, the server URL. So here, right, what is the authentication type? The authentication type can be many things, but here we are going to use the personal access token method, because we have generated the token, right? And we are just going to use that one. So we can press enter for pad. So I'm just entering it. So here we need to provide the personal access token that we retrieved moment before. So I'm just copied this one, and yeah, yeah, it is trying to connect the server, and it is asking the agent pool name. Okay, so there we have seen, right, there are two pool name. One is the default one and another one is the Azure pipelines. So Azure pipelines, so mostly it will have the Microsoft hosted agents. So that's why I'm just trying to use default one. Maybe we can create the new agent pool also, but for now we can just proceed with the default agent pool. And then the agent name. So if you want any specific agent name, we can provide that. Otherwise it is automatically taking my local machine, that host name. Okay, I'm just entering it. Maybe it is not okay.
But the key which you generated is for the agent 01, right?
No, so the agent 01 just for my understanding only, but the here, right, we don't need like maybe but here, right, the agent 01, the token name, right, just for our reference only. This is the not the agent name. This is just like token name, and then the corresponding the token will be there. This is just for maybe for our understanding only, like in which place we have used the this token. But this is not anything related to the agent name. It's just like a token name. You can provide the name, maybe something like maybe Azure DevOps or something. You can provide anything. It is not related
Okay.
anything with the agent mission. Okay. So
Mhm.
here connecting to the server, successfully added the agent, testing agent connection. Okay. So for example, now microservices POC and under the organization settings, and yeah, so we have to check in the agent pools, right? And under the default one, and here the agents. Okay, say currently it is showing like offline because it is registered. Okay, but currently it is showing like offline mode. Okay, so enter work folder. Yeah, maybe it will create some work folder. So for example, currently we don't have any work folder, right, which means like working directory something it will. So for all the jobs and all, right, whenever it is trying to work on any kind of jobs, so inside that working directory it will do all the operations. Okay, maybe if you want any folder name we can provide that, otherwise we can just leave it as the default one, so under the work. Okay, and then here I'm just refreshing it. Maybe yeah, it will create later, I guess. And then enter run agent as service. Okay, so maybe we can run this agent as the service, so that whenever we are shut down our maybe currently, right, so whenever my I have maybe the turn on my machine, so that it will be turned on automatically if I'm configuring as the service. Otherwise, if I don't want to configuring as the service, I need to start the agent for every time. Okay, so for example, enter an agent as a service, press enter for no. So which means like for every time I need to yeah, I need to start it. Okay, so for example, the default behavior is no, right? So maybe I'm just leaving it like n, and configure enter configure auto log on run agent on startup. So this one also they are saying like the default one is no, so that I'm providing like no. Okay, so now our agent is configured. Okay, but currently here, right, here it is showing like offline because our the agent is configured, but we are not started the agent, but because it is not maybe the online yet. So for that, what we have to do is like either we have to run the this command like the run dot cmd, right? This one we have to start it. Otherwise, the earlier step, right, we have to configure as the service. So which means like it will be always online even if you are maybe turned off, and then if you are turning on again, so maybe during our startup the agent also it will start automatically if you are configuring in the services. Okay, so for example, I am not configuring as the service, so that I want to run manually, like
So will this show on the services
yeah,
if you
correct.
go to
If
the
yeah, for example, I am not configuring as the service, so that's why it won't show. But suppose here if you are providing as the yes, right? Okay, so that
Mhm.
it will be showing in the services. So automatically when you are starting your mission, so the same service also it will be started. But just for a, maybe the learning purpose, I'm not configuring as the service because this is just for learning only we are doing, right? So maybe in your real time, if they're asking you to set up any VM for the self-hosted agent mission, so you can go with the service. But for learning, we don't need to do that. For example,
Yeah.
right, this is the this is the first time I'm going to use, and maybe after that I don't know whether I will use the same feature again. but in the maybe in your company setup and all, right, you have to configure as the service. Otherwise, right, for every day you have to go and you need to maybe the start the maybe the service manually. So that's not the good way, right? So that you have to configure the agent as the service in your maybe for the office work purpose and all. Okay,
Got it.
so just I'm running it so that it will try to initiate the connection with yeah. So I'm just running the command. So after the after that you can see that maybe this agent will become as maybe online. It is connecting to the server, listening for jobs. So currently I'm not assigning any of the jobs, right? So that's why maybe it will show like listening for jobs. Maybe we are not going to end it, so it will be always active maybe until we are ending the particular maybe the agent. Okay, so for example, so now you are clear, right? For example, here also it is coming like agent, so that maybe hereafter we can create some new pipeline and then we can assign some jobs to the this agent, so that it will be started working on it, so that it is listening, right? Whenever the Azure maybe it will be always listening to the Azure DevOps server. Whenever is there any jobs assigned to this one, so it will automatically get that job and then it will start executing on it. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
So if you want to create another agent, right, like on the same machine, so is it going to be like another folder and then
yeah.
we'll do the same setup?
Yeah, we can do the same setup. Maybe at the time, right, you have to provide the different agent name, I guess. Okay,
Mm.
but mostly we should not do that. For example, even that's not the best practice, but maybe in the office purpose and all, right, maybe they for the per mission they will configure the one single agent only, because otherwise, right, if the it will be from the Azure DevOps server side, it will be think like each agent is like a different maybe host machine. Okay, so it will be think like, so for example, right here within the same machine you will be configuring the two agent mission. Okay, so which means like first one it will assign the task. Okay, for the second agent also, what the Azure DevOps will think like the second agent is free so that we can assign the task. Okay, but it don't know like maybe the already the one job is assigned to that this mission. So for example, if you are parallelly running the two task, right, so definitely it will maybe it will slow down the process and all, right? So that's why it's not advised to configure the two agents in the same machine, but still it is possible. Yeah, maybe with the different
Yep.
folder, yeah, we can do that.
Maybe if I'm working on two different projects, right? Like, so now you are on the microservices POC,
Hmm.
and if you are on a different project,
Okay.
then that time it will be like the same agent we can use, or that time
Yeah,
it
yeah.
should be like a two
Yeah,
different
yeah.
agent,
The
right?
same agent machine you can use. So for only the criteria, right? So for example, this is the my agent mission. So my local is the agent mission. Okay. So if you want to build your .NET project, only your requirement is like I in this agent mission I need to have the .NET SDK, maybe the 4.5 or 4.6. So the framework version only needs to be installed, right? So that I don't need any other requirement, right? So the both the things will be same for the both projects, both microservice project.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
that with the same agent you can do that. But for example, sometimes, right, so for example you are building the node.js project. Okay, so but my
Hmm.
agent mission I am not installed any node related utilities and all node application, I didn't install it. So at the time what you have to do is you have to configure another one agent mission, and there you have to install node and you can configure it as the agent mission. Okay, and one more thing also, within the in my same local machine, right, I can install maybe the node .NET and everything I can install in my same machine. Yeah, still you can allow the you can run the job. So here it will be assigned to, so the jobs and all will be assigned to my the current local machine. But only the thing is at a time it will run only the one job, so that maybe the when you after running the after started running the .NET projects, right, if you running the node projects, it will be queued so until the first project is completed. So maybe yeah, here there
Okay.
is something like parallel thing and all. So yeah, this is how it will work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there is no concurrency on this one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, the concurrency and all. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So the next one, yeah. So now we are clear, right? So the next what we can do is like we can create some new task, new pipeline, and then we will try to use this agent mission. Okay, we will try to um, maybe assign some jobs there. Okay, so what I am going to do is like I am going to create some new projects. Okay, just for agent testing. Okay, so I think by default, right? So with the same project name, the repository also will be created. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is like I'm not going to clone, I'm not going to push an existing repository. I'm just going to initialize with the README file. Okay, so I'm just going to run some Hello World application only. Okay, for example, my repository is initiated with the README file. Okay, so what I am going to do is like I am going to create the Azure pipelines.yaml file, because in that file only we have to provide all the maybe the stages and all, right? So Amos, you are clear, right? So for example, I have initialized the repository here, and I am going to run I am going to create small Azure pipelines.yaml file. So there we will be having the all the pipeline information and all. Okay. So my
Mhm.
requirement is like I need to create the new file with the Azure pipelines.yaml file. But this is not the advisable one, but just for an example I am showing here. Okay, so maybe in your real-time project, right? So you have to push it from your local machine. So we are just doing some testing only, right? So that I'm directly creating the file and all here. So I'm just
Mhm.
created the file here, and I need to populate the some pipeline the information. Okay, so this is the one we have seen yesterday. Okay, so this is some basic pipeline. So here we are not doing anything, like here we are just specifying the variable name. The name is like Martin, and then we are going to use this is the so in this job, right? It will be assigned the job to the particular agent mission. Our my agent name is the desktop something, right? So that whenever I am running this build, it will be assigned to my local mission, because here I am setting the filter like it will be always should be assigned a job to this agent mission. Okay, and then what it will do is like it will just do the it is currently it is just having the hello world. It will just print the message in the console. That's it. Okay, so you are
Mhm.
clear, right? So it's just like a small the hello world maybe application.
And same thing if we have like a bunch of deployments like DDL or LDA, same way we will create here on the script side.
Yeah, yeah. So for example, the DLL and all, right? So here we will be
Mhm.
creating the job like build job, and maybe the compiling,
Mhm.
running unit test cases, and maybe creating the zip. So everything we will be creating as the one job. So the same thing only. So currently, right, I am creating this script like echo hello world. Okay, but in those scenario you have talked about, right? So in this scenario, we will be just mention like. Maybe the .NET restore, .NET install. So those kind of commands we will be providing here.
Okay.
Okay. So maybe yeah, maybe this is just maybe the starting point, right? Maybe from the tomorrow on all, maybe we will create some. I think I have invited you into the .NET project, right? So we will just try to build that one, and after that we can push it to that Azure. So there you can see that. So what are the tasks we are using it. So those things and all you will get to know. But this is the concept. So here you can just understand like the build pattern. So we are following the semantic versioning format, and then the trigger will be happening for the main branch. because currently I'm having the main branch. Okay, maybe you can set up like some kind of filter also, like whatever the branch name starts with a feature, so that one has to start the bill. So those kind of filter, the trigger block, we can provide the those information. Okay, yeah, this is the commented one. Okay, and maybe equivalent trigger, I think this may be the equivalent trigger, something they are providing it. And then the variable block, so if you are doing any customization, you can pass the variable values in this variables block. Okay, and then the pool, this is the default pool, right? So we just configure the self-hosted agent machine, the name like desktop something, under the agent pool default. So this one only I have to use this uh, we have to assign the job to this particular agent mission, so that's why I'm mentioning here. And then this is my job, okay, the hello world, and then the script is this one. Okay, so I'm just doing commit. Okay, and after that I am clicking on pipeline. So currently it is not having any pipeline, so I'm clicking on create pipeline, and I am having the YAML code in Azure repos. So this is my repository, and it is automatically detecting this one. Okay, so this is the Azure pipelines, right? So that I am just uh, click on run, so that it will be starts running the job actually.
Is there somewhere, do you have these steps noted anywhere?
Yeah, I think
So
when you're following this one, you can, but I don't know in this document we have it or not, but it's just like a simple only Amos. Okay, maybe when you can do some Google search, you can get that. So first thing is you are just creating the Azure pipelines in the repository. Okay, and after that you are creating the pipeline. Okay, from that pipeline you are just when you're creating the new pipeline, right, you are just providing the repository information, and then if the Azure pipelines.yaml file is already there, it will automatically detect it. That's it.
okay, maybe
Okay.
I'll
So
check back the
now
video
it
again.
runs. Sure. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
So now it runs in your local machine,
yeah,
but
yeah, correct.
let's say this you want to test it on some
Yeah. So here,
lower environment.
yeah, this pipeline
Mhm.
needs permission to access a resource before this can continue. Okay, permission needed. Okay, I'm just to click on permit. Okay. So for example here, right, you can say like here currently it is listening for jobs, right? So I think it will show the logs also, like it is receiving the jobs something. Yeah, we can see, I guess. 1 minute. Yeah, I think still it is not started. I think it will take some time, I guess. I think still it is in the queued state. Okay, waiting on the agent to receive and acknowledge the request. Maximum concurrency, finished evaluating. Yeah, the currently it is showing, right, running job hello world. So from here also you can see the status. But in real time projects and all, right, it will be configured in the services, so we cannot see that one. But yeah, maybe when we are running the agent in the command prompt or PowerShell, yeah, we can see here.
I thought like it is going to pass a parameter that Martin value also.
Come again, Amos, I'm not getting you.
Based upon the YAML script, I was thinking like the name parameter value, right? Like Martin, that's going to be printed after hello.
Yeah, correct. So for example here,
But
right, you can see like hello Martin.
oh,
That's it.
here, okay.
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
not on the console. It was saying like hello world something, right?
Yeah, no. For example, for this side, right, the agent is something like it is running the job alone. But for all the execution related information and all, it will be displayed in the Azure DevOps only. So for whatever
Oh,
the debug information, but the execution logs, everything, it will be for the particular job, right? All the execution related information, it will be shown in the Azure DevOps. But here we can just see like whether it is receiving the job or listening or those kind of information only.
so the job name is Hello World.
Yeah. So for
Okay.
example here, right, uh, in the repos, we are just providing the job name like hello world.
Okay. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, so similar like we can assign the .NET build or compile. So those kind of things, yeah, we can just follow, but only the one requirement, right? So for example, if you are creating the maybe the .NET application using .NET 4.5, okay, so your requirement is like if I want to build in the same machine, so you in my machine also I need to have the same 4.5 version, so otherwise it will throw an error. So those kind of customization, right, we cannot do in the Microsoft hosted agents. By default, they will provide some of the frameworks. So with that, we have to provide. If there is any deprecated thing and all, we cannot use that. So at that time, you have to go with the self-hosted agent machine. You got it, Amos? So for example,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, this is my agent mission. I can do anything I want. So for example, I can install Docker and Redgate or anything, any kind of, because there are many tools available, right? So I can install anything and then I can run I can configure in pipelines to run the particular command. But so that I in my agent also I will be having all the tools. But this is not the case with the Microsoft hosted agent missions. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, Tim. So I think you are good with the basic self-hosted agent machine and then the maybe the YAML pipelines, right? Maybe this is the same thing for the maybe some big application also. The only one thing what we are going to do is like we will be referring the variables and all from the pipeline variables, and then we are going to use create the new jobs. This is something simple one, right? Maybe we will be creating maybe the .NET, the maybe the maybe installing the dependencies, running unit test cases, and maybe in the Kubernetes we will be creating the image and then pushing to the container registry. So those kind of tasks we will be running it. Okay.
Yeah.
So one question here, if you go back there. So let's say this one, like said, like let's say there is DDL job or any task that we need to deploy, maybe uh, to test first, like before production. Here, you print it, run the job locally, but the same thing, let's say if we want to deploy it on dev environment, where do we have to provide
Oh,
the machine name?
yeah. Yeah, okay, my brother. So in your case, right, you want to
Yeah.
maybe deploy some DLLs to dev environment. Okay, so currently I
Yeah.
have printed some hello world the message in the console. Okay, so in this
Yeah.
case, what I will do is like, so for example, let's consider like you will be having the some source code, maybe the .NET source code you are having it. Okay,
Mhm.
after I am building the source code, I will be having the DLL. Okay, so
Mhm.
maybe in my agent machine, right, so for example instead of hello world job, maybe I will be
Mhm.
having the maybe the build maybe the .NET build. So that is my job. Okay, what it will
Mhm.
do is like it will do the checkout first and then it will run the .NET build, the specific command to get the DLL from the source code. Okay, so in my local
Mhm.
directory, right, so for example here, right, I think whenever we are running the job, right, so it will be managed, it will be running in any one of the places only. So for example, I'm not sure this is the correct one or not, but yeah, so it will manage all the execution logs and all in the working directory. So in any one of the folder, it will do the source code checkout and then it will run the .NET build. Okay, so you will be having the DLL here. Okay, and from my pipeline, right, I need to say like once the DLL is created, I need to copy the same DLL to some other maybe the dev environment. Okay, in
Mhm.
maybe in another job, right, I will be saying like copy DLL to the dev environment. So that is my next job. So it will again in my local environment, it will copy the DLL and then it will place it into the dev environment. So you got it right. So only whatever the scripts we are providing, right, we are just providing the scripts alone, and in our agent machine it will run. So maybe you have to provide the source and destination. Maybe here I am just printing it, here I am just echoing the hello world. But similar, like maybe for example, if you want to copy to the dev environment, right, so what are all the ways to copy it? Like you can use FTP or SFTP. Okay, so those kind of maybe the protocol you have to use the FTP or protocol. You can just you have to connect the server programmatically, and then after that you can just copy the DLL from your local machine to from the agent machine to the dev environment. Okay, maybe in a real time, right, maybe we are not going to log into the agent machine and all. Okay, so just for an example only, we are configuring in our local machine, and then I have logged into that one, and then I am seeing the maybe the some kind of the agent machine log. Okay, but in real time scenario, you are not at all going to log into the agent machine. Okay, so you will be just specifying these are all the maybe the uh, scripts I'm going to run it, and then maybe after the run is successful, you will be having one more job to copy the task to the dev environment. Okay, if there is any error, right, so for example here if there is any error or something, you will be having the execution log here. Okay, so for example, by seeing the log you can fix that one, and when you're running it, then again after that it will be fixed, and then it will be moved to the concerned the dev environment, or maybe based on your configuration, it can be dev or QA or production one.
When you say copy, it's you are saying that deployed or run on the server,
Yeah,
whatever the
yeah,
database changes,
yeah,
if
so
there is like any
yeah,
data change or.
yeah, the deployment can be, for example, right, for every application type, the deployment will vary. But the only one common step is like you have to copy the artifact, and after that you need to run some commands to start the application. Okay, so for example, maybe in the Java, right, maybe you will be build the source code, you will get the jar file, maybe that is the bundled file, the jar file. Okay, that they will call it like the Java archive. Okay, and you have to copy to the concern environment. After that you have to run the command like Java hyphen, I think hyphen r or something, and after that you have to provide the your jar file as the input. So when you run that, your application will be started. So this is the deployment process. It's not like anything. You will be copying the artifact, and after that you will be running some command so that it will be started. So for example, right, in the agent machine also, you are just running the run command so that the agent is started, right? So similar, like you will be copying some Java archive or the .NET means the DLL something. You will be copying there, and after that you need to start some command. Okay. So sometimes manually we will be calling it, and sometimes, right, from the IAS and all, if you are configuring it, it will take care like which command needs to run it. Okay. Yeah, so maybe not, so even if you are maybe not clear, right, so you don't need to worry. Maybe when we are going to see the next demo and all, you will be understood. Maybe not. So
Sure, Seva. Yeah.
yeah, okay. So the next one, right? Yeah, so we have seen two things. Okay, so the next one is we need to create the Azure account. Maybe the okay. So have you created the maybe the Azure account, maybe the Azure Pass token provided?
No, I just get your email. I just see your email, but where is the key though? Is that the one he sent like in the first 2 days of the class?
No, I think the Daniel will be sending the Azure Pass token actually. Okay, so
Yeah, that's what he sent like first day or second day.
I
yeah,
think, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe that will be the simple steps only. My brother. So
Sure.
Amos, have you
Okay.
done that?
Yeah, I have used the pass and I have created the Azure account.
Yeah, so yeah, maybe we have just to go to the Microsoft Azure Pass.com, and there maybe you have to log in with your account, and then it will ask you the token, and after that it will be automatically created the subscription and all. It will be easy step only, my brother. Okay,
All right.
maybe you can just maybe try to get the token that Daniel
Okay.
is sending you, and after that, yeah, you can create that subscription one, the Azure subscription.
Mm,
Okay.
all right.
Yeah. So, okay, Tim. So we will have a 10 minutes break, and after that, we'll see some overview about the Azure. And maybe Amos, you have Amos and Mebrat. Do you have any experience with Azure before, or you are new to Azure?
Did I build Azure? Just over all the portal.
Yeah, it is the public cloud,
Uh,
the cloud.
yeah. Oh,
So
on the public cloud.
yeah,
Yeah. So just as intro part and like the storage, creating
okay,
storage, and some deployment. I mean, uh, creating a database on that. It's a small,
okay. Yeah, yeah, that is
like
fine.
yeah,
Yeah, that is good one. Yeah, yeah. Amos, you
like
have a
creating container stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, even from the office, I have an account, but I haven't used much because I don't have much knowledge on this one.
okay,
So
okay.
going forward, that's what like I'm looking up for working
Yeah,
more on it.
yeah. Okay, Amos. Yeah, we can see that one. Yeah. Because our course also Azure DevOps, right? So for example, the Azure DevOps, it will provide the platform for agile planning, Git repository, and CI/CD pipeline and test plan management and all. Okay, but there is no deployment platform. Like we can build and then we can stage the artifact and all, but there is no maybe the deployment platform and all that, like deploying a API application or creating the database servers. So there is no any future like that. So that is why we are choosing the Azure platform for creating any kind of resources. So for example, maybe the Azure and all, it will be comes under public cloud category. Okay, so there are two classification. The one is public cloud and another one is private cloud. Okay, the private cloud means the own company, right? So they will create the data center for deploying their own application. Okay, so for example, the financial based client and all, right, the banking and all, so they need to be very secure so that they won't go all the application to the public cloud environment, because they don't know, maybe we don't have any control, right, to have a many complaints. They will be maintaining in their own data center, and within their data center only they will be deploying their applications and all. So that is the, if the data center is managed by their own team, so that is called the private cloud. Okay, the public cloud, right, so there are many the cloud vendors, right, like the Azure, AWS, GCP, and there are many other cloud as well, right? The Oracle, IBM. So there are many cloud public clouds are there, and so they will be offering some of the services like maybe IaaS, that is the infrastructure as a service, and platform as a service, and then software as a service. So these are all the main offerings. So maybe there are many services in that Azure also. So we cannot, maybe there are many things are there, like queue, service bus, storage, and database, active directory. So there are many offerings, but we are not going to discuss all of those, but we are just going to discuss what are all the things we need in terms of application deployment and security perspective. Okay, so first we'll see overall idea, like what is the infrastructure as a service. Okay, so the infrastructure as a service means we will just create a one resource in Azure. Okay, but for all the other things like installing the update and security patches and for managing the particular resource, right? So we only needs to do everything. For example, the VM, you are creating some Windows Server 2019, the VM. Okay, so for if you want to install some Windows update or security patches or any maybe the memory upgrade or the disk quota increase, everything, right? So that you only needs to handle it. So for example, networking, so for everything, right? So we only needs to do that. So only the infrastructure, only the Azure will provide. So all the other things, right, the as a customer, so we only needs to do all of the other things and all. So that is the infrastructure as a service. So in this one, the examples resource in Azure is like virtual machine. Okay, the next one is the platform as a service. Okay, so for example,
So, okay, so sorry. So we will create all VM and install this, the instance and also storage and everything we will manage as an organization. But the network and maybe data, what's it called? Data center, all that, they will provide the infrastructure stuff. They will managed by Microsoft, whereas the VM, even deployment of the VM itself, will managed by the organization.
okay,
Any organization.
yeah,
What?
yeah,
On IS, right? Yeah.
yeah. So for example, right, maybe the VM. Okay, so we can just create the resource in Azure. Maybe you have
Right.
maybe you are working the VDI and all, right? You are working with some kind of
Mm-hmm.
VDI or remote desktop connection, right? So you will be
Right.
having the machine somewhere through the some protocol like RDP protocol, the remote desktop connection. You are just accessing the particular machine. Okay, so similar like the VM will be created in the cloud, and then you will be having the host name and username password to connect the particular VM, and then you will be accessing to that one. Okay, and then you are asking the
So who
deployment.
will manage the VM was my question.
Yeah,
Like as IAS, you will manage the VM, right?
yeah,
Parts and
yeah.
everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
so for example, yeah, the resource, the hardware resources and all the Microsoft will provide for all the management, everything as you said, the management, right? For example, maybe monitoring that one, and then installing the Windows updates and security patches,
Right.
everything we only needs to do that.
Oh.
Okay, so that even the any security for all the places, right, they won't come. So inside the VM, right, you can do anything. Like if you want to install the Oracle database server, you can install it. If you want to install any maybe the Jenkins or anything, you can install in the VM as like however you are doing in your local machine. So in my local machine, right, I'm just configuring my machine as the agent machine. Okay, similar like you can configure that VM also as the agent machine. Okay,
Okay.
so that
So
is,
in this case, like, sorry, so window team and DBA whether sys or app will be involved on IaaS environment,
okay, yeah, mostly,
right? Yeah.
yeah, they will be there, but yeah, maybe the infra, maybe the sys and ops engineers, so mostly they will be working on the infrastructure thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so the
Whereas
next,
on the it will be minimized more. The management level will be brought down to DBA, maybe just only the database and data.
yeah, maybe, yeah, so the only
Okay.
one thing, right? Yeah, maybe for example, if you are installing the database inside the IaaS, okay, the infrastructure, the VM, okay, so that you only needs to manage the database server, right? So for example, you have the big Windows server, okay, and inside that you have installed the database server. For example, your Oracle the database server, right, you have installed it, so that you only needs to manage that one, right? So that definitely some infrastructure team is needs to be there for managing the database servers and all. If there is any issue, so they have to fix it, right? So that the Microsoft won't come there. So that we need some team, the DBA team, and maybe the sys maybe the application team, so the everything, so everyone needs to be there when it comes to infrastructure as a service. Okay, so just for an example, right, For example, our requirement is like we need to create the database Oracle database server. The first one option is you can create the one VM, and inside that you have to install the Oracle the database server. So then you have to provide all the license, everything. You only have to manage it, the Oracle database licensing, right? So you only have to manage it. The next one is the platform as a service. You can just tell to the Azure that maybe I don't need like what is the environment you are going to use it, or maybe the OS, everything. I don't need to care about any of the stuff. I just need the Oracle server needs to be up, and these are all my maybe the requirement, like maybe the maybe how the latency would be when we are interacting with the database, right? So how the performance would be, everything you will be provide as the requirement, and based on that you can just get the maybe the connection string, username and password. That's it. So apart from that, you don't need to create a VM. You don't need to worry about the licensing and then the cost. You don't need to have maybe the DBA or someone, because all the other stuffs in the PaaS service, right? The Microsoft will manage it. We just need to maybe provide the, maybe we just need to create the resource there. Okay. And similar like for here, right? The maybe here the example of the PaaS service like Azure App Service, AKS and ACS. The app service is for like maybe it is the one of the deployment platform for maybe the Java or .NET kind of application. Okay, so for traditionally, right, maybe you will be creating the VM, and inside that
Or
you will,
maybe app server then?
yeah, app server, yeah, you can call it like app server. For example, maybe if you maybe let's forget about the DB example. Okay, maybe you want to deploy some .NET application. Okay, so if it is in the IaaS, what you will do is like you will create the one Windows machine, and inside that you will be installing the .NET framework, where on top of that your application will run, and on that and after that you will be installing the IaaS server also. Okay, and after that you will be copying your application code, the binary you will be copying in the VM machine. Okay, so if everything is okay, then your maybe your application in inside the VM will be hosted. Okay, this is the procedure for the IaaS. Then another one is like PaaS. You will be just creating a one service, and you will be just providing your application binary alone. And after that you will be specifying like my application code will be working on the .NET framework 4.5 or 2.1, the .NET core 2.1. So some kind of information you will be providing it. That's it. So that automatically your application and all will be starting it, and then you can provide the information like how your application needs to be scaled up, scaled down. So those kind of conditions you can set it up, so that based whenever the such scenario use comes, then your application also it will be automatically scaled up. Okay, so this is the example for the platform as a service. So you are not going to do anything like you maybe the infrastructure wise you are not going to do anything. You just need to provide the application binary, and then you need to choose in which runtime environment your application will work. So that's it. So and based on the criteria you set for the auto scaling, then automatically your application will be scaled up when there is many users in your application, when the traffic is high in your application, whenever the your application not having any users, then automatically it will maybe decrease the number of instances, and only the minimal resources only will be available for the application users. So this is the example for the PaaS. And then the software as a service, even you are not going to provide any kind of the application binary code also, you will be just consuming it. So the one of the example is like Office 365, like maybe the Outlook and all, right? You are just consuming the service, the mail, the SMTP, the service, right? You are just consuming it. You are not going to do any you are not going to provide any kind of application source code, or you are not going to manage any infrastructure. You are just uh, using that one. That's it. So now you are clear, right? The
What?
IaaS, PaaS.
Yes, sorry. What else is other than Office 365 for SaaS as an example?
As an
I never
example,
heard any other.
Yeah, 1 minute.
What's that?
Maybe
Is
that is the one
team?
popular thing. 1 minute.
Okay.
The email, calendaring, and office tools such as, yeah, I think whatever it is in the pay as you go, and yeah, the Salesforce, Google Apps, the Workday, and these are also the, yeah, so these are also the software as a service. Yeah, maybe you hear about the Zoho and all, right? Maybe they will be providing many software as a service.
Okay. Salesforce.
Yeah, Salesforce and all. Yeah.
Workday.
Yeah, and then I think the CRM application a little bit. I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe the Salesforce also one of the CRM application, right? So maybe from the portal we will be managing everything. So
Mhm.
yeah, so that one and all. So maybe one
So
of the,
is team also part of this?
sorry.
Teams.
Yeah, the teams also.
Microsoft
Yeah, yeah, the
Teams. Is
teams
it that?
also. Yeah, so that one also maybe the
Oh,
part of Office 365, right? Maybe the calendar or everything. Yeah, and
oh.
even right, maybe here we are using the webinar, right? So the tool. So that
Mhm.
one also the software as a service. We are not doing anything, right? So the some team is hosting on it, and we are just consuming it based on the subscription. Something we are just consuming it.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah. So and then so you are clear with the infrastructure as a service PaaS and SaaS, right? So the next one is maybe how the resources and all organized in the Azure. Okay. So for example, maybe the subscriptions, right? When you have the subscription, then only you can create the resources under the subscription. Okay. So for example, when you are creating the Azure account, right, with the Azure Pass, so automatically when you are redeeming the particular the token, maybe the Azure Pass, you will be getting the one Azure subscription. Maybe that will be valid for some maybe 1 month, or otherwise they will be giving you the credit also, like per month $150 or $200. So something they will credit it in your account, and for that particular credit within the month or within the specified time they have mentioned, so over the period you can create the resources and maybe other stuffs and all, we can just play around it. Maybe in your maybe the real time scenario also, right? So they will be providing the pay as you go, like those kind of subscription, like maybe at the end of the month something, whenever the bill is generated, and after that we will be paying it. So we will be first using the resources and all, but at the end of the month we will be paying the resources we have used. Okay. And so for basically you need to have the subscription, and after that maybe under that you can create the resource group, and the resource group is like the logical container. Like for example, you are working the project for a, so in that one maybe inside that you can create many resources like the database, app service, and so it is just like you are organizing the particular resources. So that is what the resource group is. Okay. And after that this is the actual resources, like maybe the database or something. Maybe the resources can be like the database, and then VM, the virtual network, and maybe the Azure key vault. So anything can be the resources whatever we are creating in that Azure, right? So it will be the resources one. Okay, so you are clear with this one, right? So what is the this one, and then the subscription, resource group, and resources. Maybe yeah, if you are clear, then we will go to the Azure account now. Maybe I will show some how to create the VM and so on the app service account and that. So Amos, you are good with that, right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. So for example, this is the portal, right? Azure portal. So the portal.azure.com. So for example, even there are multiple ways are there to interact with the Azure cloud. Okay. So one is through the portal you can do that, and another one is you can install the PowerShell module in your Windows machine, and by just running PowerShell script you can interact with the Azure. and then they are providing other maybe the CLI also, the Azure CLI also they are providing it, and with that one also we can run that one. Okay, there are many ways. Maybe just for maybe beginning you can use the Azure portal, but when we are going advanced level, right, from the Azure DevOps and all, either you have to use the Azure CLI or Azure PowerShell or the Terraform script, maybe ARM template or Terraform script to automate the resource creation, the infrastructure provisioning. Okay. Yeah. So, Mebrad and Amos, so you are good with that, right? You know what is the Azure CLI, Azure PowerShell, Terraform, and ARM templates. So you know the maybe the difference between all, right? Or maybe you are not aware.
Some of the things now only I'm hearing first time, like the
Oh,
Terraform, those things. But,
okay, okay. Yeah, I will give some overall idea. Okay. So the Azure
okay.
portal you understood, right? So through the web
Mhm.
portal, you can log into your Azure account, and inside that you can create the resource and then manage the resources and all. So this is the one way.
Okay.
Okay, and another one is Azure PowerShell module. So we have the PowerShell, right? So you can install the PowerShell in our machine, and after that, maybe when we are running, we have the some module for login to that Azure and all. Okay, so through the PowerShell module also we can interact with the Azure. Maybe from the command line you can create the resource, we can delete that resource, and then we can see what are the list of resources are there. So those things PowerShell module also it will allow. Okay, but for the PowerShell module is just for a Microsoft based Windows based operating system. Okay, but in other case you can use the Azure CLI also, that is the cross platform one. So the Azure CLI you can install in a Windows machine, or you can install in the Linux machine also. So from there you can interact with the Azure resources. So that one also one of the command line tool. Okay, so you have to install the Azure CLI. Okay, maybe you can I would say like
So what is the full form for CLI?
the CLI means command line interface.
Interface. Okay.
Okay, so for example, yeah, so here they are providing the option, right? Installing it for the Windows, Mac, or the Linux one. Okay, here I'm choosing the install on Windows, and here I'm just getting the latest release version of Azure CLI. So once it is downloaded, I will just click on install, and after that maybe from there onwards, yeah, we can maybe log in to the server and all we can try. Maybe log into the portal, and then we can see. Maybe we'll see the example of Azure CLI so that you will be understood.
So it's kind of like the PowerShell itself.
Yeah, yeah. From the PowerShell, maybe yeah, the CLI you can run from the command prompt or the maybe PowerShell also. It is just like you are installing the Git on your machine, right? So similar like
Hmm.
Azure CLI for interacting with the Azure portal or Azure cloud.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the Terraform? Terraform only I
Yeah,
don't
the Terraform it is for the infrastructure as a code. So for example, if you want to create the resources, so for example, right, they are providing one more option also, ARM templates, that they are calling it like Azure Resource Manager. Okay, and
know. Mhm.
so there we can create the scripts maybe in the YAML format, and when we are running it, all the resources will be created. So for example, the AZ, the login, those things and all, right? By using the Azure CLI and all, we can create a one more script, and then when we are just running it, automatically the environment will be created. For example, when you are using the dev environment, right? So in your dev environment, you need like app service and then database and then key vault. So many services you need. Okay, so you can write maybe instead of creating the processes manually, you can just maybe scripted using the Terraform or Azure ARM templates, and after that you can by just single run it will be the resources and all will be created. Okay, and when you are going to the QA environment and production environment, right, you can just change the parameter like environment to dev to QA or QA to production something, so it will be automatically the other environment also will be created because you have the script now, right? So that similar exact identical setup in the dev environment, the same thing will be created in the QA and other environment also. You just need to provide the parameters like what is the environment and what is the maybe the tire you are going to use. For example, some of the resources, right? For example, the dev is just for an testing purpose, so you don't need the maybe the premium tire and all. So for some of the resources, you just need the basic, so that is the sufficient. Okay, so this
Okay.
is just like a infrastructure automation. Uh, uh,
Okay.
Amos, okay.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
So I'm just installing the Azure CLI. Okay, so I'm just accepting the terms. Yeah, I think the similar like Azure CLI, the PowerShell also the same. Amos,
Hmm.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
just
Maybe
showing
you
so
can
how
go
to
ahead.
log in so that you will get to know. Okay,
Okay.
so it will take a minute, I guess. Yeah, so these are all the popular services. Like this is the subscription. So I'm just I can verify what are all the subscription I'm having access. Okay, maybe when you are going to any kind of organization, right? You may be having the one or more subscription based on your team need and the project you are currently working on. Okay, and currently I'm having the subscription named Azure Pass sponsorship because this one is created the Azure Pass, right? So I think Daniel is creating some pass to us, and from that I have created that one so that the Azure Pass sponsorship is the subscription is created. So under that one I can create maybe many resources as much I want, maybe for the testing purpose. Okay, and we'll see whether this one is completed or not. Okay, so the next one maybe I'm going back to the screen. So for example, here there are many resources. Okay, so maybe there are many services also. Maybe we cannot cover all of the things, but at least we can cover the basic things, the virtual machines, right? So just
Mm-hmm.
to create a Windows or Linux based virtual machine. Okay, and then the app services, it is the deployment platform. It is to host a .NET or Python or node based application we can install in the app services. Okay, so there we don't need to maintain any infrastructure. We just need to provide the application binary, and then we need to know we need to say like which uh, maybe the version of the runtime it will work. So only those two things we have to
So,
provide. Yeah.
sorry, Salva. I just installed the CI and Azure CI.
Yeah, are you asking?
CLI, yeah. So the command line interface. Can you show me how do you populate and start like connecting?
So you're asking
Oh,
to
it's
how to
not done yet?
install?
No, I just installed it, but
Hmm.
I thought you have been using it already.
Oh, okay. But I think still it's not
Do you
installed.
log in? No? Okay.
Yeah,
So
still
did you
it's.
log using that As CLI or?
Yeah, I think for example, right, for the DevOps person, so you should know how to use that one. But this one also, it's normally it's as like other command line. Okay, like a command prompt and shell scripts and all we are using it, right? The CLI also it's similar kind of the stuffs only. We don't need to be master in that. We have the Microsoft documentation, right? So for example, I just saw that what is the command for maybe log into the uh, Azure with the Azure CLI. Okay, and then here we are getting the option like we have to run the AZ login command, so it will log in you to the Azure CLI. So for example, right now the Azure CLI is installation is completed. Okay, I'm just opening the command prompt. I'm just running the az-v just to make sure whether the AZ CLI is installed or not.
Okay.
Okay, so the 2.3.0 is installed currently. Okay, so I think we can goods to run any other commands like the first one is right before doing any other commands I need to run the maybe the login. I have to log in with my Azure subscription, right? I'm just running the Azure login az login command. Okay, it will ask us to maybe provide the username and password. Okay, so this one right automatically open the browser and then it is asking us the uh, this one because this is this SSO, right? Because I'm already logged into the same account, so that it is automatically logged in. Okay, so when I'm going back again, so here it is providing like the cloud name Azure cloud and our subscription name, right? We have seen in the portal like Azure Pass sponsorship. Okay, so for all the details we are coming here also. Okay, and even right we can because I'm having the two subscriptions, so that it is listing two because this one is already expired. The I have used the free trial one, so that one is expired, so just that's why it is showing like disabled. Okay, and because currently the active one is the this one Azure Pass subscription sponsorship, so that is shared by the Daniel. Okay, so and then the next one is like, so for example I'm getting started with CLI, right?
So
So
why instead of using the GUI, why people will go for the PowerShell or for this kind of CLI?
yeah, so for example, right, for the PowerShell or the CLI, you can script the environment. Okay, so that maybe you can create the script once and after that you can run the script as many time you want. Okay, but in the GUI, right, for every time you have to create the resource manually, so that's not the easy way, right? So maybe if you are working in the small project, then we can just instead of the scripting that resources and all, we can directly go ahead and then create the resource in portal, but that is easy. But when you are working on the very big project, it is having the very complex infrastructure, so in those scenario you have to script it, and then with the same script you have to create the resources in the all the other environment also. Okay, so that you can maintain the identical environment in all the environments. So you got
So
it
is
right.
it something? Yeah, is it something like on the portal? If you create a resource and then from there can be scripted, and then that script can be used using this CLI tool.
Yeah, 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 maybe yeah, I will show the Terraform script. Even we have the one repository for that, I will show that. But whenever the automation comes, right, with that command line only you can achieve the automation. But otherwise, right, if you're doing something in the GUI, that is the manual only, right?
No,
But the
the
DevOps,
problem is like I will not be knowing like how to write a script to create a resource, right? So in that situation, that's what I will lean towards the Azure portal. And then
okay,
once I create the resource, and if I wanted to replicate the same resource onto QA or prod,
okay.
that's the reason like I'm asking like how can I script it from the portal, and then I can going forward, then I can start using the CLI, right?
Oh, okay. You are saying like you will be first creating the maybe the resource in portal manually, and after that you have to generate the script in Azure, and with that script you can run the QA and UAT. So you're asking, is there any
Yeah.
option like that? I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, I think is there any option available? But yeah, I think we can. There is a one option. I think when we are running the deployment, right? So for example, this is Azure portal, right? So for example, here I'm just creating a one virtual machine. Uh, So I think it will run the deployment, right? I think the during the deployment it will provide the script also. I think from there we can refer, but we are not following like this way. But I think this is possible, I guess.
Okay. I don't want to derail you, but I was just
Yeah,
curious
yeah,
how we can, because when you are saying like you're using the script on the CLA, I will not know like how to create a like a write a script for this one to create a resource, but I
mm,
should be able to somehow navigate on the portal and create a virtual machine, right?
yeah, yeah. See all sizes. Okay, I think password that is fine. So here, so I'm just creating the one virtual machine. Okay, I think
Okay.
we have populated all the default fields only. We are not providing any customization there, and we'll see.
Okay.
I think after the validation, right, it will show. Mm, I think it is validating now. Yeah, I think validation is passed. So I think we can create it. I don't know why we are not able to. Yeah, I think here, right, we can download a template for automation. Yeah, so here we have the script, right? Like these are all the parameters, and then variables, and then these are all the resources. Like when we are creating the VM, we are going to create a virtual network and the virtual network interface, everything. Okay.
So there is a third tab scripts. So is it like the one script on the top?
Yeah, I
Oh
think
yeah.
here, yeah, I think this is the template, right? I think this is the
Mhm.
ARM template, I guess. So with this template, yeah, you can automate this one. So maybe we can download it, and then because right here it's already parameters, variables, and all, it is clean. It is showing very clean. Okay, so I think
Mhm.
these are all the 5 resources, and then these are all the variables we are going to use, and the parameters also it is showing. So but you are just going to change the variables or parameters, so maybe whenever you are trying it. Okay,
Okay.
so I think yeah, this is possible, but still we need to have some scripting knowledge to use this one also.
Got it.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
think yeah, so this is the script actually.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, so I think with that, right, if you I'm not maybe I think this way, right, this is for the arm templates, I guess, but I didn't create with arm templates, so there are many other ways, right? So mostly we will try to use with the Terraform only. But
Hmm.
yeah, maybe that is based on the companies only what they are using it. Okay, maybe some of them they might use arm templates also, and some of them they would use the portal also, so that also fine. Maybe when you are so currently you are working in the developer, right? So maybe if you want to change it to the Azure something and all, so you can initially you can go ahead with the manual also, you can create it. But someone they will be coming from the system background and all, right? So that they will be more they will be going into the automation, maybe with the PowerShell, sorry, with anything like ARM templates or the Terraform kind of things they would go. Okay, but I think mostly,
Okay.
right, yeah, mostly I think if you're going any DevOps engineer or something, but I think they will give some time, and maybe I think you don't need to worry. It's a simple only, Amos. Okay, you just needs to understand how the GUI is working and what are all the parameters you are providing here. So if you understand the concept of virtual network, virtual machine, storage, but the same thing only will be there in the script also. It's nothing different actually. Okay, it is a very
Okay.
easy only. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. So we have seen, right? So here like easy. I think here also, yeah. I think so. These are all the available commands actually. Okay, like Azure account, container registry, Active Directory. So Azure Advisor. So these are all the sub commands are there. Like I'm just providing Azure account, easy account. Yeah. So when I am providing this command, right, it is showing like the list of available subscription. So I think the Azure Pass is the available, the currently the active subscription, right? So that's why it's showing. So for example, you if you don't know like what is the command inside the account, you can just provide AZ account, and then it will provide the list of possible commands. So when I'm providing AZ account, the available command is like Azure account list, get a list of subscription for the logged in account, and the account show means get the details of a subscription. Okay, and then the to be the current active subscription, set a subscription to be the current active. Okay, so for example, right, if you have the multiple active subscription, so at the time you have to maybe set the maybe the logged in subscription, right? At the time you can use this command. So similar way, when you are when you are seeing just help commands, right, so you can easily understood this one.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, because you are seeing, right, the maybe from the portal or everything is same only.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one, yeah, okay, Tim. So currently, right, so maybe I will just provide some overview about this cloud. Yeah, so this is how, right, maybe the VM, and then the app services just for a deployment platform, and the storage account, as my brother said, yeah, maybe some blob storage, table storage, and those kind of storage we can create it here. And then the SQL database, maybe the Microsoft providing, it is the platform as a service, maybe similar like SQL Server, the on-premise one, instead of installing in the on-premise, yeah, you can create the SQL database in the cloud. And then the Cosmos DB is the NoSQL one, and the Kubernetes, this is the containerization platform to deploying a microservice based application. Okay, and so for example, this is the resource group. Okay, so currently we didn't create any resources, so that's why it will show empty only. So maybe you can create the new resource group, and then inside that you can create a resources also. So for example, we have just tried the virtual machine, right? So similar like you can try the SQL database or Cosmos DB or something, you can try by yourself. But maybe one thing is like maybe after the use, right? So you are just doing for learning purpose only. Okay, after the use you have to make sure that you are closing the particular resource group or something. Okay, so I think the Azure Pass, right, this is something for learning only, right? So we should maybe it would have some minimal credits only, so that we have to use very carefully. Otherwise, right, if you are without using, after creating it, if you are not using, still they will be charging it for a minute based. Okay, so that after the use there will be option to delete the resource, so that one you have to delete that one. Okay. Okay, so this one, yeah, you
So
can try. Yeah,
delete the whole resource group itself.
yeah, you can delete it. That because, right, maybe in your you're just doing for learning purpose, right? So if you want, you can the later also you can create it. Maybe in the next day also you can create it. So otherwise, right?
Okay.
So for example, in your night time and all, you're not going to use that for the 8 hour or the 10 hours, right? So you're not going to use that. But anyways, they will be still charging it, right? So that we don't.
Mhm.
But it will be the unnecessary charges only, right? So when you're using it, you can just create and play around with that. And after the use, yeah, you can just maybe the remove the resource group. But that is not happening for the maybe the production application or the real time application. So I'm saying for an example in during our learning phase.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay, so the next one is like yeah, so we have compared the demo, the Azure part also. So the next one is the managing app secrets and configurations. Okay, so for example so maybe the questions to you, Amos. Okay, so for example, you have the .NET framework application, right? So what are all the configuration you are having currently? Maybe what are the configuration you are passing it to your maybe.
For
Hmm.
like the SQL connection thing,
Okay.
so that will be on the config file.
Okay.
So that's what mostly will be. And for the login purpose, like we use like different logins. Either we go by the AD or we have our homegrown application called like an app security itself. So that will be the user will be authenticated against that app security database.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those kind of settings also we'll be putting it on the config file.
Yeah. Okay, Amos. Yeah. Thank you. So yeah.
Mm.
So that's what the connection strings and then the secrets, everything, right? So that will be changed only for the environment. But apart from that, the artifact, the binary and all will be same. But when we are deploying it, only the configuration only we will be changing for every environment, right? So we won't be changing the
Mhm.
binary for every environment. The binary will be common for all the environments. Only the connection string or the external configurations only we will be changing it. Okay. So for example, we can understand like what is the configuration and what is the secret. Okay. So for example, in API and all, maybe you will be setting the logging level. So for example, info or warning or error, so those kind of settings, right? So that will be the just like a configuration. Okay, and some of the things like maybe if you are doing some kind of batch process, maybe maybe how many batch process, maybe how many batch files we have to take at a time, like the 10. So that is the configuration. Okay, the secrets means the the security, maybe the database connection string, and then the database password, and then if you are integrating with any external system, right? At the time, for example, you may be consuming any external API. So for that, you have to provide the API token. And maybe there are the token, the certificate related things. So all the things will be secure. Those and all will be coming under the secrets thing. Okay. So here the thing is like you have to maybe store the secrets in a secure manner, and also you have to be retrieved when for the application use, right? So at the time only the we will be using the key vault, Azure Key Vault. Okay, the Azure Key Vault also one of the service provided by Azure. Okay, and so there we will be having an option to create the maybe the secrets in the key value pair. The key means like the DB connection string. The value will be the actual connection string, and then the DB username, and then the username, and the secrets, the password value. So those things we can use it in the uh, we can be use it in the key value pair. So that option it is allowing. And one more thing is like, so for example, the when you want to maintain some centralized control, so for example, the most of the time, right, the production connection string, everything, even the developer, they don't know. So only the maybe the project managers and maybe the security purpose, maybe whoever managing it, they only will have a control to maybe the change the username and password, or maybe updating that one. So all of the things they only will be having the control. Even the dev team, or maybe the QA team or the DevOps team, no one will know what is the password maybe currently in the key vault. So that if we know the key, maybe the secrets and all, right, that is the maybe the potential vulnerability to the application, right? So even, so that's not the secure one. Even only the legitimate peoples only will should know that. So that maybe we can create the keys in the key vault, and maybe even the token also, like if you are using the token for calling any API, and even API key. And also for the certificates, right, the certificate means like, so for example, you are deploying some web application, so there to configure the SSL, right? So which means for HTTPS. Okay. So in that scenario, you need some certificate. Okay. So those certificate also we need to be managed somewhere very securely. So in that place only we will be having the uh, um, we will be using the Azure Key Vault. So that is the service. Okay. And then how we can authenticate it. So for example, maybe let's take an example of .NET application. So we will be deploying into the app services. Okay. And maybe the app service is different service, and Azure Key Vault is another one service. Okay. So now app service should need to authenticate with the maybe Azure Key Vault, and from there it needs to pull the credentials. Okay. And here there are two ways actually. One is the service principal, and another one is the managed identities. Okay. The service principal means from that active directory we will be creating one client ID and secret ID, and we will be providing access to that particular client ID to access the Azure Key Vault. Okay. So and from your application, right, from your application you will be using the same Azure client ID and then secret ID. With that client ID you can access the Azure Key Vault credentials and all. So that is the one way, using the client ID and secret ID method. Okay. And another one important, the security one, is the managed identity. So from that Azure portal, right, so from that Key Vault, there you will be directly selecting the particular application. Okay. For example, your app service, and under that you have deployed some application, you can directly provide the access at the application level. So whenever if there is any maybe retrieving the secret or password call from the particular maybe the app service and then application, maybe we don't need to manage any kind of password. So all of the things, right, the internally Microsoft itself it will handle, so that we don't need to provide any kind of username and password to retrieve the Azure Key Vault. Okay. Maybe yeah, when we are seeing the demo, maybe you will be understood. But currently, right, maybe you just want to know like what is the principle, service principle. The service principle is, it is for the service, the system to system communication. Maybe we will be having the client ID and secret ID, and with that we will be authenticating the target server, and then we will retrieve the information. Okay. And the managed identities, that is the Microsoft is providing some future. For example, Azure, we want to access the Azure Key Vault from the Azure App Services. Okay. So we can directly assign the permission to the Azure App Services. So whenever the call is coming to the Azure Key Vault from that Azure service account, so that we don't need to provide any kind of the secret or the password or anything, because internally the Microsoft will handle it. And if you are if you are calling the Azure Key Vault from the outside, it won't authenticate, so that we won't get any kind of credentials and all. So you understood, right, the basic concept, Amos and Mibrod?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think I'm getting tired.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
okay.
watched the movie. I mean,
Yeah. So Mebrat, so for example, right, this is not a thing. So you are just storing the
I will watch
pass.
that.
Yeah.
That's okay, I think.
Yeah. Maybe in the tomorrow session and all, right, we will see some demo, so you would be understood that.
So managed identities
Yeah.
is like kind of like a whitelisting on the other side. So if it is coming, the request is coming from this particular port or something, right? Then
Yeah.
actually the
Yeah,
credentials.
maybe from our maybe our own data center, right? So at the time we
Mhm.
can say like whitelist and all, okay. But in
Mhm.
cloud, maybe in behind the scene, right? They will do whitelist and all, but we don't know. But this is that the same concept only, almost. But
Okay.
here in the
That will be
Azure,
on
there is no.
managed.
Yeah, so they will be behind the scene. They will be managing everything. Only the call from that particular app service only it will allow, but otherwise it won't authenticate and we can't get the credentials also. But it is kind of whitelist only, but we cannot say this is the whitelist because there is no terminologies in the Azure Key Vault and Azure App Service. Maybe in that firewall only we will do, right? But the concept is
Mhm.
similar, but it's not exactly.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, okay, Tim. Yeah, maybe
All
the
right.
demo for this one, right? Maybe we will see tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, Tim.
Okay.
Bye, thank you.
All
Yeah.
right.
Thank
Bye
you
bye.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Bye.